everyone. I have been away, so I very much missed this move down here on the market. So let's just review actually what I was thinking about and looking at last week. So I think when I was scenario planning, I was maybe a bit too bearish because I didn't really plan for more upside. But what I was looking for was a reversal and for us to come down and test this level here. So these were a couple of my scenarios, and I'm more interested. These obviously are planned out, but it's really difficult to plan that far in ahead, to be honest. But what I was looking for was a pullback to this level. So if we look at the market, we got that. We got that pullback, and I think because I've been catching up and reading what's happening, it seems like this move here was very much driven by a degree of news, so related to bonds and bond yields around the deficit concerns, those sorts of bits. It seems to be that's what drove us down, but we knew a test was likely. I don't think this is the catalyst to kind of shake us out of this long kind of here, but what we know is that we're down here and we're now testing this level. So what we see this coming week is going to be important and relevant to how we continue to plan and scenario plan. And I think this week is slightly more challenging because it's a shortened week, it's a post-holiday week. Nvidia earnings, I believe, are this week as well. So that's our last kind of big earnings. I think here's the 28th. We've mostly seen all the earnings that we want, but Nvidia will be a big one. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye on Nvidia when it comes out on the 28th. Which could be pre or post earnings, but definitely just something to be aware of on that time. So we have our test here. Let's look at our next scenarios of this week. So, because I'm starting to get better to put my market outlook pieces together, I've kind of put this on one screen. But we have a couple of different scenarios. The first one we can possibly see is, zoom in is not very helpful, is it? Let me get my PowerPoint up instead, much easier. Is we kind of have this first scenario here where we get just a nice bullish reversal. So this example here from scenario one is very much, we get a good volume. I believe the S&P futures are higher as of Monday. So I think Sunday and Monday. So Monday the 26th today, isn't it? Yep. So potentially coming in, let me just look at 5 days because I think Friday, Sunday. Yep. So we can kind of see that the futures are indicating that we're probably going to start a bit higher. So already we might have our gap up scenarios, not gap up, but starting higher rather than starting down here is a possibility. But this scenario here is very much a bullish reversal on good volume, and we continue to push up to this 600 level. This kind of resistance point here, I don't think we'll eclipse it this week, but we'll see. But that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking for a strong reversal, and that's something I would trade if the volume was good, the price action was good, if we're stacking red candles. So I'm looking to see for like a 2-hour HA reversal, and we want to break that previous day's high, this one here. We want to break that, and also we can see there's resistance here, so we want to make sure we get past that level and possibly see it retest. But we want to see what the retest does first. That's what we want to see. And in terms of stocks that we're looking for today and scanning before the market opens tomorrow, it's those stocks that have shown really good relative strength. So for this drop, we want to see stocks that haven't really dropped or have gone sideways. So moving on low volume sideways, maybe trickling slightly down, but not as much as the market. And what we want to see from those picks is support below them and space above them. We want to see good volume on those ones during the day. So I haven't actually done all my scanning yet, but I know a couple that I've just glanced by is stuff like Netflix could be one, kind of relative strength. So if we look from, that's where the market started to go down here. Netflix pretty much just moved sideways, really. So it showed some strength. I think Tesla is the same. Yep. Indicator didn't quite show it, but it has basically just moved sideways as the market's gone down. And again, it's got what we want to see. It's got support underneath it, which is nice. You know, we've got the 15 EMA and we've got the 100 SMA, closely followed by the 200 SMA. So it's good. That's a good potential option because it's obviously broken out here, but it's just compressing. Nothing wrong with that. And that void, we just want space for a stock to go into. So we want space above it. Whereas I think something shows you how much, look at these charts, but I know, yeah, Amazon might not have that space, right? It's got SMAs up here, it's got resistance, maybe not the best picks if we're looking at a couple of days, 1, 2 days, 3 days, not going to hold this for very long. And as we move to the other scenarios, just kind of similar. So scenario 2 would be similar to this version, but just a bit weaker. That reversal just doesn't happen on volume, doesn't look super strong. We're not getting stacked green candles. We're just getting, you know, an okay reversal, and we just look to get up to this previous high here, but we don't, either we don't make it, or we just reject off it and come back down to there. But this week I just anticipate maybe we'll get there, potentially. And another scenario would be, yeah, we just form a lower high. Again, not great volume, not great price action, kind of just muddles upwards. Wimpy bounce. Doesn't show us much. Be difficult to trade that, especially swinging it. So it'd be more of a day trading environment because the rug will be pulled out from underneath us at some point because we know it's not a strong move. But those same picks apply. That's why picking great stocks here is so important. Those are relative strengths, and again, volume underneath that we were looking previously. Next scenario would be something like, which could be more likely than what I've got in my charts, but we'll go back to that in a second. But we just end up staying at these SMAs for this week. Maybe we dip below it, above it, below it, but there's just no conviction either way. The market's waiting for a catalyst, waiting for the holidays to come to an end, and video earnings, whatever. Fifth scenario. And sorry, just getting back to these scenarios, just have to day trade them or not trade at all, especially with number 4. There's just no direction here. We need the market behind us for direction. 5, yeah, break of SMAs, but just not much conviction. Maybe the volume isn't high. Similar to kind of number 3, really, where we're just, you know, the rug could be pulled out from underneath us at any moment, and we sharply reverse. Trump announces some great big bill, you know, something news driven, basically. That would, a trade deal, that stuff is still ongoing. That trade deal stuff's still around. And then number 6 would be, yeah, a bearish continuation. The volume starts to pick up. We see a retest. That's what we need to see, these two things. We want to see, what do the retests look like? That's the key bit for me. I want to see what do those retests look like. So if I just look at SPY here for a moment, so, you know, it comes up to here and then cracks through. Look at that, heavy volume. And I want to see what happens after that. Does it come straight back and engulf this candle? Or does it, like, it barely made it halfway up this big candle here? And we can probably see it clear on a 5-minute chart. If my system would let me. But yeah, look at that heavy volume. How's the retest? Barely was one. There's your retest. Doesn't even get anywhere near VWAP. Probably makes it to a standard deviation of VWAP. or in this case the 8 EMA, doesn't get very far and then just cracks back down again. We had our test, breaks that low again, and that's our tone for the rest of the week. So if I just pull this back over, this is what I'm looking at. It's for those bearish picks, it's again the opposite of those bullish picks. We want stocks of the week that have fallen further than the market have fallen, were falling before the market started falling, have a good D1 void to travel into, SMAs nearby, key bars, high volume bars, etc. Relative weakness, that's what we want. But again, we just want to see what the market does. I think when I was scenario planning, looking at my percentages, just putting my most likely, just because what we've seen the market do is the sellers don't seem to be around and they're waiting for some sort of catalyst. Will that catalyst happen this week? Yeah, possibly. Because if we look at some of the events happening this week, and I don't see it on here, but I know a key one is we are expecting PCE from April, and some of these other ones as well. But I don't usually see it in my Forex one, and I'm sure it's just called PCE on Friday, so I'm not sure why I'm not seeing it in there. But that could be, a driver. GDP is going to be quite interesting. That's Britain. But where is GDP for this week? Sorry, I'm looking a bit further ahead. So May 25th, here we go. But yeah, prelim could be interesting. So there are possible catalysts in here, but it's difficult to tell, isn't it? No, there it is. I'm going blind. So I know the Fed likes using this one. So there are possible catalysts in here. Even bits from China, but let's just focus on the US. Consumer sentiment. But this is the one, core PC. The Fed will be looking at this one and the market will be looking at that one as well. So there's some possible things going on here. Prelim GDP could be quite relevant. I think we've seen the unemployment numbers stay strong. No reason why they wouldn't stay strong as far as we know. So there's a couple of potential catalysts. But yeah, not really sure. And then the week after, stuff like jolts, etc. But we'll do another video of the weekend to see where we're up to, rather than trying to. It's difficult to plan too far ahead, isn't it, at the moment? So earnings and stuff next week. Not earnings, sorry, hourly earnings. So yeah, I feel like Nvidia could be the driving factor, but I've just put weak bullish reversal as my main one, but I don't have much conviction behind that. And if it is, it's not going to be a strong move, but I don't know. Nobody knows. You can just have your scenarios. But the bearish options are still available. And I think that's all I wanted to cover from the market perspective. I haven't done all my scanning yet, as I said. So I'll be looking into that. But yields seem to be the focus. Could be a newsy week as well. That's the always difficult thing with a Trump administration. How do yields continue to react? Been looking at some charts, and I'm no expert on yields. I will say that straight away. In bonds, really not my area at all. But the way we see the market react to that is relevant. I think I mentioned the futures are starting higher, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, the way bonds are looking is quite interesting when you kind of zoom out. We just have to keep an eye on those yields. But we mostly obviously trade stocks. But could definitely affect our trading. So I keep an eye on these on TradingView just to see what's happening with these. Definitely worth keeping an eye on those. I've got it in here on my sector pieces as well. But this is just TLT, the price of TLT. But yeah, we just need to go away and look at volatility is obviously increasing. It's a worrying sign. Right, as we've gone down, volatility is increasing. To be expected. And that's our overall trend, which is interesting. So yeah, what to do for the rest of the prep, I suppose, is you have to get those picks. So we have our analysis of what we think might happen. Now it's just going away and finding those picks that would match up to that. So we mentioned the bullish ones that we want to see, but I just need to do some more scanning to find what those picks would be. And I always recommend to people, if you're looking for a free resource, this is not mine, it's free, it's pretty useful if you're just starting out, but it's ZenBot Scanner. The Windows Store, and there's also a web version. So when I'm at work, I use this. Super useful. So I'll be looking for some picks above those SMAs potentially. SMA Magnet has been the one that I really liked lately. And again, I would filter this long list down. So I have my filter settings in here. And I'll filter that down and do some picks and see what we find. But yeah, we'll see what the trading week brings us, what news kind of reacts, but we'll see what scenario maps out.